What if I told you that one of the most powerful countries in human history started out looking like this? Because in 1776, America wasn't a superpower. It didn't have the world's strongest army or the world's biggest economy, and Britain was one of the most powerful empires on Earth. So how did this tiny new country eventually become one of the world's dominant powers? The answer isn't one battle, one president, or one invention. It was geography, resources, immigration, industry, money, technology, military power, and a lot of historical timing. Let's go back to 1776. 13 American colonies decided they had had enough of British rule, so they declared independence. Britain's response was basically, "Excuse me?" The Revolutionary War began. America was badly outmatched. But America had something Britain couldn't simply take away: space. America had an enormous continent to grow into, and its geography gave it some enormous advantages. To the east was the Atlantic Ocean. To the west was the Pacific. That meant America was separated from Europe and Asia by thousands of miles of ocean. And America had massive rivers, huge forests, fertile farmland, coal, iron, oil, natural gas, and countless other resources. During the 1800s, the United States expanded westward. The country grew through purchases, treaties, migration, and wars. The Louisiana Purchase alone nearly doubled the size of the United States. Eventually, America stretched all the way to the Pacific Ocean. But this expansion came at a tremendous human cost. Native American nations were displaced, forced from their lands, and suffered devastating losses through war, disease, and government policies. But land alone doesn't build a superpower. You need people. And millions of immigrants arrived from around the world. They brought skills, ideas, businesses, and an enormous amount of labor. America was becoming an economic machine. Then came industrialization, and America started building factories, then more factories, and then an absolutely ridiculous number of factories. Railroads connected the country. Steel production exploded. Oil became incredibly valuable, and companies became enormous. Then, Henry Ford helped popularize mass automobile production. Suddenly, cars could be produced much faster and more cheaply. America's industrial growth created enormous wealth. Banks grew, stock markets grew, and New York became one of the world's major financial centers. The American economy became a giant cycle. Factories created jobs, workers earned money and bought products, and businesses used that money to build even more. Then, Europe exploded into World War I. America initially stayed out of the fighting. But eventually, the United States entered the war. American soldiers joined the battlefield, but American factories were just as important. America was learning an important lesson: industrial power equals military power. Then came World War II, and this time, the entire world was involved. After Pearl Harbor, America entered the war, and American industry went completely insane. Factories produced planes, ships, tanks, trucks, and an enormous amount of food and equipment. America had become what looked like the world's largest factory. When World War II ended, the old world had been transformed. Europe was exhausted. Germany and Japan had been devastated. And two superpowers emerged: the United States and the Soviet Union. America had enormous economic power, a massive industrial base, and a powerful military. But America had another powerful weapon: the US dollar. The post-war international economic system placed the dollar at the center of global finance, and America's economic influence became global. But America wasn't finished. The country became a major center for science and technology. Computers became smaller, then eventually, you could put one in your pocket. America also helped pioneer the space age. Satellites changed communication. And then there was something that doesn't show up on a military map: American culture, movies, music, television, technology, and eventually the internet. So why did America become so powerful? It wasn't because of one secret. It was a combination of advantages: geography, resources, people, industry, money, technology, military power, and global influence. In 1776, America was a fragile new country. Almost 170 years later, America emerged from World War II as one of the world's two superpowers. And over the following decades, its economic, military, technological, and cultural influence reached around the planet. But perhaps the most important lesson isn't that America was destined to become powerful. It's that geography created opportunity. People and immigration helped build the workforce. Industry turned resources into wealth. Wars reshaped the global balance of power. And technology turned economic strength into worldwide influence. From 13 colonies, to a country stretching across a continent, to a global superpower. That's how America rose. And the story of America's rise is really the story of how geography, people, technology, money, and power can completely change the course of history. What country could be next? And that brings us to the end of America's incredible rise. From 13 colonies, to an industrial giant, to one of the most powerful countries the world has ever seen. But here's the thing. Every great story starts somewhere. And just like America started small, this channel is starting small too. I believe this channel can grow into something really special. So, if you enjoyed this video, help me build it. Hit the like button, subscribe, and stick around for the next chapter. Because this is just the beginning. See you in the next one.